Like, Eggs in 2020 was a beast. He was insane. He was looking the best we've ever seen him before. Last year, not as much. Last year was a little bit. I don't know if you can burn eggs, but like, you know, it wasn't that great. It wasn't that great. But now he is back with a vengeance. He's practicing. He's competing. But here we have a different Zerg player, another Zerg player who has also been practicing very hard this past week. He wants to make a deep run. He is representing the CranKy Ducklings, hailing from the land of Peru and Italy. It is Ryu. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the returning Chilean player. He is Terran, representing Infernales Esports. It is SoldieR. Oh my god. Let's go. And I'm excited because I think it was last week Ryu was stopped by Eggs. Week before that, I think Ryu was stopped by Paco Mike. Week before that, it was Chaos Fate. Those are the three, maybe in different orders. Maybe I'm misremembering the orders, but Paco Mike, Chaos Fate, and Eggs have been the ones in Ryu's way these past couple of weeks. So can he change that in some way? I guess what I'm alluding to is that basically one player from each race. I'm looking at Ryu and I'm looking at his TVZ. Can he match up to SoldieR? Specifically against Chaos Fate, I do know that Chaos Fate has some really strong bio tank pushes, like very strong. And there have been times where uncharacteristically Ryu misses the push. He isn't able to spot it with his overlords, with his creep, with his spotter lings. And then suddenly the push shows up and Ryu is woefully unprepared. He's been droning up too much. Either that, or even if he does see a push coming, like, it just slowly overwhelms him anyway. Not so much on a map like Hardwire. I'm speaking a little bit more on like Berlingrad or Blackburn. But like these are just like the ways that at least Chaos Fate has been able to assert his dominance in this matchup. But again, hopefully Ryu has been a little bit more on point with his style. I know that he likes to sometimes mix in Roach Ravager with his Ling Bane to help slow down tank pushes. But we also know that he likes to play with Lurkers whenever he can. Ling Bane straight into Lurker does have a place in this matchup. It's actually becoming a lot more popular. I know a lot of Terran players have been complaining about the Lurker. It can be hard to deal with if you don't see it coming. If you do scout it, then obviously you can transition into Liberators and Ghosts. And then suddenly it's difficult for the Lurkers to really engage, especially if you have Mass Ghost. But until that point, like, you know, TVZ, it's still one of the most dynamic matchups out there. Love to see it. And here we go. This is kind of what I expected. Roach Warren is thrown down here. It's not like Ryu rushed to the Roach Warren, but again, he is going to be relying on it just in case, as Ryu does dip on in, and Ryu confirms that it is 2 factories. It is going to be mech coming out from SoldieR. So again, shows even more why that Roach Warren makes sense. So I didn't sign up for this. I didn't know that SoldieR liked playing mech in this matchup. If I had known, I probably would have tried to get a different series. What have I done? Oh god. Mech. Oh, am I casting Neo right now? To be fair, this is different from what Neo does. Neo doesn't necessarily go battle mech with Hellion Cyclone. He's much more of a slow turtle player with big tank lines as a 3rd factory is thrown down. Oh boy, so we'll see how Ryu reacts to this. Something that's very interesting is that, of course, he is going to his lair behind this so he can get into Roach speed. He's droning up fairly well. I'm curious if he's going to go into a fast infestation pit for those fungals, or if he's going to have a different way to deal with this battle mech. Soldiers already moving out across the map. We do have a handful of Lings already and a couple of Roaches on the way, but again, this is a little bit scary. Like, Cyclones with lock-ons, they can pick off Queens, they can even pick off hatcheries if left to their own devices. And here we go, they're about to rock up. Ooh, lock-ons do not land on the Queens, on the Lings instead, and with the help of all these Queens, they should be able to help push this away. That's micro so far. The Queens don't have enough NG for Transfuse, which is a little bit worrisome. Oh, a lot of wasted DPS on that Rax, actually. Oh, no. And the Cyclones are going to be able to pick off these Queens. Ugh, 2 Queens get picked off immediately, and this is getting scary. We see more lock-ons, more Queens are going down. Oh my god, how did it live? As it gets picked off by a Blue Flame Hellion. And this is what I mean, like, Ryu didn't have anything to scout this, and now everything is... God. Everything's in shambles. Like, Ryu has lost just too many Queens. He only has 2 left. Thankfully, he's making 3 Queens at a time, but they get locked on again. Oh my god. And the brutal thing about this is that Ryu pulled every single Queen to defend, which means he doesn't really have too many injects going on. Not anymore. Ravagers are being morphed in, but it's a little bit too late. The Cyclones are already on this army. And now it's not just the Cyclones, but now we also have a tank like SoldieR. He just keeps on pushing in. And this is getting too much. Like, he's already paid for it. Like, he's already dealt the damage that he needs to. He's already killed essentially every single Queen. But he didn't get into the mineral line. Oh god, that was so close. SoldieR was so close to breaking through. He got a little bit over eager with his Cyclones and he lost a little bit too many of them. Without those Cyclones, you can't keep breaking through. And with that, Ryu, he defends. Now he can expand, he can get a 4th base. He's taking up, he's going into Hydras, he's going into a Hive. He threw down an Infestation Pit behind this. But I do think that SoldieR's in a really good position. You may be thinking, well, he didn't get any worker kills, so isn't that a good thing for Ryu? Kind of. The thing is that Ryu also wasn't able to drone because of how chaotic everything was. So because of that, the worker counts are pretty even, which means the Terran is ahead in the economy because of mules, obviously. So SoldieR, he's got the economy, he's got the army. He did lose a lot of Cyclones, but he's transitioning out of Cyclones and into tanks at the moment, so it doesn't really matter. The things are still pretty competitive between the two. But there is a world where Ryu just dies there. Like, things were not looking good. Like, the way that his army was just crumbling to those Cyclones. Bearing in mind that Ryu didn't see the army coming, and now he's sending out spotter Lings all over the place. A little bit too late, obviously, for that first push, but now, if another push comes, like, he should have a better idea of it. Jesus Christ. As we do see that Ryu's trying to get into Lair Tech, into Lurkers. Lurker Den is on the way. Hive is already done. We have Viper, so he's going to be going Hydra, Lurker, Viper against Mech. Which honestly isn't a bad composition, especially with how Ryu controls. What I will say is that I think SoldieR has been a little bit too passive. Like, that first push was great, but after that, despite remaking a couple of Hellions and Cyclones, he backed off completely. And one of the best things about this army, or this composition, is its mobility and the ability to just keep the creep spread slow and at home and keep it in check. Now, at this point, it's too late. Like, Ryu has droned up, he's made a decent enough army where SoldieR can't really abuse him anymore. So I do think that he was a little bit too passive after the initial push. I'm not saying he should have gone for another push, but again, just poked around and just kept that creep slowed down as best he can. Now we see he's blindly making Thors, which isn't the best either. SoldieR hasn't scouted the tech. He just saw Hydras now, but it's a little bit too late. He's already made Thors. Thors obviously are great against Mutas, but there is no Muta switch coming. So not the best army against Hydra Lurker. I mean, it is an answer against Vipers, at least. It is something. Oh boy. Meanwhile, the Hive upgrades for the Lurkers are on the way. We have +2 on the way as well. Ryu, he's fully saturated on, what, 4 bases? 5 bases even? This is kind of scary. I don't know about this, SoldieR. You're letting Ryu get away with a lot. And SoldieR has a lot to control now. And his army is a little bit wonky. He went Hellion Cyclone into Tank, Thor, Banshee, Ghost. Like, this is like the kitchen sink of Terran right now. Like, what is this? Like, why do we have Banshees and Thors and Ghosts? And here we go. The Ghost is going to try and land an EMP, but so far the Ghost doesn't really connect with too much. The Lurkers are exposed though. They're trying to do whatever damage they can, but it looks like the Terran army is going to get on top of all of them. And just like that, every single Lurker goes down. Oh, the bios are looking pretty good though, and this fight for the most part was happening out of range of these tanks. So Ryu honestly trades pretty well. Sure, he lost all his Lurkers, but he can remake them. You could argue, hey, SoldieR can remake the army that he lost as well, but it does take the mech army, the meching Terran, longer to do so. Meanwhile, those Lurkers, they're on the way. They're just about to finish up. Ryu's already got them and he's going to get ready for the next wave. Meanwhile, we still have Ghost. Like, what I'm worried about SoldieR's composition is I don't know if he can control all of this. Like, there's just a lot going on. Hopefully he can. He's getting a couple more Ghosts. He's throwing down more factories for more Thors, question mark. Again, Thors do well against Vipers, but I'm still not convinced. I feel like we need more tanks. Or just more Liberators. Liberators would be amazing, actually. Meanwhile, Ryu completely catching SoldieR out of position. He was over here on the left-hand side of the map, so just like that, this base is under threat. You see a bit of a yoink. Oh, a couple of snipes are going off. Not bad, not bad. But there's no mining here. And no, the Thors! 3 Thors do get abducted. And the base is going to get picked off. And now Ryu's in complete control. He throws down 2 of these Niduses. He's getting ready to double Nidus into the main base. This is his killing move. This is what he goes for, his signature move, if you will. There we go. Nidus from the low ground up into the high ground. I love it. He's distracting the army with all these Hydras, keeping them on their attention on the Hydras. And here we go. Nidus does finish in the main. And just like that, the Lurkers are going to get on top of the production. It takes so long for SoldieR to respond to this. Like, the choke point on top of the ramp is so difficult to maneuver as well. There's only a single tank in here, by the way. And that's not going to be enough to deal with this. Nowhere near enough. We see the yoinks. More Thors getting picked off. And this is kind of it. Maybe with these reinforcing tanks, maybe SoldieR can defend. No. It just barely isn't gonna be enough. It's difficult to call. There's only 2 Hydras and a Ravager left, so SoldieR will force this out of his main base. But the damage has been done. The production was affected. A lot of the mech fell, and Ryu immediately remaxes. He's up 100 supply. 100 supply. But yes, this is what Ryu loves doing this, not just in this matchup, he also does this in ZvP as well against Skytoss. He goes Hydra, Lurker, Viper, and then he goes into the main, deals with all the fleet beacon, the stargates, and then is able to evacuate and get out. Doesn't always work. But when he can make it work, oh boy, does it look good. Now, Ryu just made the classic mistake of making too many Hydras. He actually doesn't have the supply to make Lurkers. He needs to lose Hydras to make Lurkers right now. Oh god, he's only got 2 Lurkers. Oh my god, pure Hydra is this could just work anyway. It doesn't even matter at this point. There we go, we do see some blinding clouds going down. GG gets called, and Ryu will take game number 1. after almost dying in the first 10 minutes of the game. Let me just remind you how powerful that Cyclone push was early on and how that almost just ended things then and there. Ugh. My heart is still beating from that, by the way. I was getting some PTSD of my own ladder games where Cyclones and Hellions rock up and they just end it. Ugh. Yes, GG, well played. Ryu does take the first game, and SoldieR, we'll see if he is able to mix things up. Is he gonna go into bio? Is he gonna stick with mech? Again, I do think that SoldieR was autopiloting a little bit. Like Thors against Hydras and Roaches and Ravagers and stuff. Like Thors are not really what you want. Again, they're great anti-air, but for a while there, he was making nothing but Thors, which is a little bit odd. A little bit strange. When ideally you want to go like tanks, liberators, right? Especially liberators. Like you want to force the Zerg player to transition into corruptors, into Spire Tech. And then you can go into Thors. But yes. Oof. In the end, GG, well played. Now we are diving into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Blackburn LE. We have the CranKy Duckling himself, hailing from the land of Peru. It is Ryu. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the Chilean Terran player showing off his mech and not looking bad in it, especially in the early game. We have, representing Infernalis Esports, SoldieR. Oh. Ah. Hydra's a good unit after all. I mean, Hydra's a good when you're going up against pure Thor. Like, who goes pure Thor? Like, when there's no prompt to do so, when there's no mutas, there's no Spire, you know? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head. Speaking of shaking my head, pretty standard opener from Ryu, but not a very standard map for game 2. We are now on Blackburn, and Blackburn can be a great map for bio, can be an okay map for mech. The problem with like the good thing about this map for mech is that you can split the map in half and you can slow the game down and turtle up, and I feel like that's what you want to do as mech. The downside though is that we have a very short rush distance by air, so if Ryu did go Spire, mutas can really abuse mech players here. So there's a little bit of risk reward. And oh, where are you going? Hello, Mr. Drone. Oh, I think he's just hiding. Okay. Never mind. Never mind. I was hoping he was gonna go for the goal base as his third, but I don't think he's gonna be going for it. Reaper does rock up, and he's gonna get a Ling, which is something, don't get me wrong. Reaper does get a little bit of damage, will back off, and Ryu heads towards that third base. Ooh, doesn't want to go too soon, just wants to make sure the Reaper gets the hell out of there. Thankfully, Ryu does have this spotter overlord, so he does confirm the location of the Reaper, and he is able to get it on time. And with that, Ryu gets away with his standard opener. Ooh, and SoldieR going for a completely different style. I thought he was going to try and make his mech work, but no, he's given up on mech. He is going for Stim. And going for a 2-1-1. Something that you don't see too often. 2-1-1 was kind of phased out of popularity a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now that I think about it. It's been a long time since the 2-1-1 was the staple and standard in this meta. There is still a place for it. It does still work, but it does have some weaknesses Obviously, you don't have that economic advantage that a third CC build would give you. So if this 2-on-1 doesn't deal damage, then you can just die. Oh my god, he's doubling down. No, and it's gonna get scouted. SoldieR? Yeah, he saw the Overlord coming in, but he threw it down anyway. So Ryu actually does spot the armory, so he knows it's going to be, and he also scouted the 2-on-1, so he knows it's going to be a Bio Hellbat push, and his response is going to be a Roach Warren. You can go either Roach Warren or Baleen Nest. I think both are great answers to this, but the Roach Warren is done. But 8 drones still not, like, we need an army. We need an army now. Oh god. Ryu, please. Okay, there we go. We have 2 roaches in production. We have a couple of queens that are going to be able to slow this down a little bit. But Stim is going to finish up in 5 seconds, and so is the armory. Yeah, we're going to need every single queen on the front line. We need every single roach, every single ling. SoldieR picks up and... oh my, questionable move. He's going to be splitting up his army. So now these Marines aren't going to have the buffer of these Hellbats. Question mark? Okay. Oh my god, the medevac! Oh, the medevac gets sniped. We do have enough energy for transfuse. The queens survive, and now Ryu doesn't have to worry about a drop in his main base. And suddenly, this army is so much weaker. He does still have 1 medevac, but I mean, he could have gone for a double drop and just sent everything into the main. That just isn't going to happen anymore. Ay. And just like that, Ryu has the economic advantage. Behind this, he could probably throw down the 4th base. He takes 2 more gases instead. I mean, because he is going for a roach composition, he does need those gas more so than if he was going Ling Bane. Transfuse on point, just like that. He swats away this army. The creep was barely touched as well. This push did kind of fall in its face. And at the same time, you have to wonder, like, SoldieR... obviously, he could have hidden the armory. He could have just not gone for the armory as well. He kind of forced himself in a really awkward position, and now his 3rd base is late. Now Ryu, there's the 4th. If he wanted to, he could probably double expand at this point, and take the goal base as well. Double Evo chambers. Ay. And SoldieR has to make something happen with this drop. I mean, there's no creep connecting to the 4th base, so SoldieR, he could get a free cancel. And this is not bad. And this is punishing Ryu not to expand towards his opponent or even take the gold. There he does drop, but there's only like vanilla roaches here, not even any Ravagers. So the Bio Army is going to trade favorably. Yo, he can kill every single roach. That's exactly what he's going to do. Every single roach goes down. Not just roaches, but also a cancel on this 4th base. Ryu putting a little bit too much faith in his roaches. Oh my god. We should see a cancel on the 4th. SoldieR. Okay, he's going to go for the queens instead. I mean, he's killing queens. Like, I can't give him too much for that. I can't haze him too much for that. As again, the Bio Army is still trading so well, but I don't like this. It was a sure thing. He could have 100% canceled this base, but instead he went for queen kills. Which is understandable, right? Killing all those queens does slow down the creep. But that means, like, it's so much more important that Ryu kept the hatchery alive. Now we have larva, now we have injects, now we have a platform to spread creep and another base. Like, I don't think that was the right move from SoldieR. Like, regardless, he did get damage done, but I don't know if that was the best damage he could have done. Yeah. Ay. Meanwhile, the Bio does clear a lot of creep here in the center of the map. Not bad. I mean, because he killed all those queens earlier, there's not as many queens to respread that creep that was just denied. Pure Roach, again, is still not that great against Bio Tank. When are we getting Ravagers? That's what I want to know. Oh, god. As Ryu is losing a lot of Ravagers here. It's one of those things, if you look at the supply, Ryu was ahead in supply, but this is roaches. Like, this is inflated supply. Like, it's still not that great. Finally, the Ravagers are being morphed in. Are they going to get done in time? Oh, God. It's going to be so close. Tanks are sieging up. Oh. Ravagers do finish up. Is it going to be enough with these reinforcements and these bars? It looks like he should be able to hold on. He's going to try and bar down the tanks, and he will get one of them. And with the help of these queens and transmuters, it looks like Ryu will just barely push SoldieR away. Barely. Oh my god. I'm really not fond of the Roach Ravager. It's so inefficient. Like, Ryu is holding on just barely every single time. It's like, mate, this could be so much easier if you throw down a Bailey nest, you know? You're making this hard for yourself, on yourself. Burrow is done, so now he's going to be going for some Barred Roach plays. He is transitioning into Hydra Lurker, which is going to be a great use of his army. Uh-oh. Can he find a way in, though? Can he find a way in? He's doing it. Has he been spotted? Tower finishes up here. Oh, the Roaches have been spotted at the third base, but what about the ones in the natural? They have not. Reinforcements catch them, though. These Roaches honestly don't trade that well, but maybe the ones in the main do. Finally, a couple of SCVs are finally being focused down. And this is all worth it if Ryu is able to get Lurkers up and running. Lurkerden is still halfway done. Like, this is going to prop the counterattack. And without all those Roaches, which Ryu just traded for SCVs, Ryu may just die. He may he may be dead. That's why he keeps sending out these Roaches, because he needs to keep SoldieR at home. He knows how vulnerable he is right now at this very moment. He knows that he is praying right now. I need the Lurkerden. I need it. Finally, it finishes up. Do you have a hive? Lair Tech Lurkers. You hate to see it. This is not looking good. It's not looking good for Ryu. Roach counterattack though, buying a lot of time. SoldieR, he's had enough. He wants to go. He finally wants to push out, and he will. Does send a small force to help deal with all these Roaches. Forces a scan. Oh, can we clean them all up? Forces a second scan. Does clean them up. And now he's going for that counterattack. Is there enough at home to defend? We do have Lurkers, but again, there is no hive, so they do not have range. Despite that, it may still be enough. As long as the Lurkers are able to stay out of range of those tanks. Like, oh my god! SoldieR, please. Roaches go for another counterattack. Ryu's doing it. He's slowing it down. That's all he has to do. He just has to slow it down. Soldier's trying to edge closer, but he just lost every single worker back at home. Back at that third base. More Lurkers are being made. Again, Ryu, all he has to do is survive. He doesn't have to overextend. And that's why he just keeps making Lurkers, keeps making Ravagers, forces those Biles. Like, he's never going to be able to jump on this army, but again, he just needs to whittle away at it. There we go. Oh god, he's going to try and get on top of the tanks. Picks off 2. That was a risky move. At the same time, we still got Roaches wreaking havoc across the map. Oh, he's going for it. The Lair Tech Lurkers. He's doing it. He breaks through. Why is there a Thor? Why is there always a Thor? Hive finishes up. We have Vipers on the way. Ryu is going for the counterattack. He is maxed out. He was able to survive long enough to go finally for this counterattack. He was barely surviving with nothing but Roaches for so long. And then the goal was to keep the Terran player at home. GG gets called. Ryu does it. He wins the series 2-0. Oh god, that style makes me so uncomfortable. It's like at any moment we saw if SoldieR had pushed out across the map maybe a couple minutes sooner, like it took like they were not lurkers ready. Like as soon as those roach counterattacks were cleaned up, if SoldieR had sent it across the map, I think Ryu may have just died then and there. But SoldieR took a little bit too long. Props to Ryu for recognizing what his win condition was. That's why he invested into Burrow and Tunneling Claws, because he knew that he had to make use of these roaches to buy that precious time for the lurkers. Apparently you don't even need lurker range. Ugh. And with that, congratulations Ryu, he will move on to the quarterfinals to wait for his next opponent, which will either be Yanji or X.